And here to start us off is one of them. Who's going first?
Amanda!
Hey, Amanda!
Hey, guys! Oh, Mom, please don't record this. Please.
Record it, Diane.
I heard that! Okay, so my name's Amanda, and I have two siblings. One of them looks exactly like me, and one of them is really short, and he's black, and he's adopted. And every time he's hungry, he comes in my rooms and screams at me. And if you couldn't tell, that younger sibling is my cat. So, when I was younger, my sister and I had bunk beds, and I used to get really bad nightmares, so I would always force her to sleep in the room with me. And one time she was sleeping on the bottom bunk, and I was sleeping on the top bunk with my leg hanging off. And during the night, my mom came into our room, and she told my sister, "Sarah, you wet the bed." And I was still asleep, but I woke up in the shower. And I was like, what is happening? And I find out that my sister didn't wet the bed, but I had wet the bed, and the pee had cascaded down my leg and onto my sister. So, long story short, she never slept in my room again. It's funny, I've babysat a lot in the Carmel area, and I've noticed that kids are always like fascinated by the weirdest things. Like, you give them a fidget spinner, and you won't see them for 45 minutes. Like, you start to wonder if they're like, okay, and then you go to their room and they're just staring at you. Like, it's not even moving at this point, they're just staring at you. You know, when I was a kid, all we had to do for fun was scatter bones in the street for luck. Thanks, guys. Really building my confidence. But when I was in middle school, I found out I had ADHD and lost my train of thought. That was an ADHD joke, everybody. Though, so I'm gonna look at my notes. Oh yeah, so I didn't really understand what it meant. So I sat down my best friend and I said, "Lauren, I have to tell you something. I have ADHD." And we both started crying and hugging each other. And she was like, "Amanda, it's too soon." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I haven't even remotely explored my love of candles yet." And she was like, "Fidget spinners haven't even been invented yet." And long story short, we both thought I was gonna die. So thank you, that's all I have. But next up to the stage is the only person in this class prettier than me. Thanks. I know, it's hard to believe. He's the future star of the breakout Netflix docuseries Downhill. Untold stories of people who peaked in high school. Please welcome to the stage my arch nemesis, Aiden Stewart.
Well, that was a lot. Well, thank you all for coming out in these Valentine's Day festivities. Ladies, just want to let you know, if you're here with your boyfriend and or husband, that means he probably forgot to make reservations somewhere else and instead brought you to a free high school activity. So remember that tonight. Sorry, men, starting off tough. Anyways, my birthday's coming up. It's my big 18th birthday. It's on Sunday, February 17th, in case any of you guys did not know the date of Sunday. And I'm pretty excited for that birthday. I will be becoming an adult, and it's pretty cool. My parents have already given me my gifts. They were pretty awesome. They included the housing section of a newspaper and $200 to go out in the world and try my hardest. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I love my family, but they're very interesting people. That's how I would describe my family, as an interesting group of people. And it might sound like I'm using the word interesting sarcastically, because I am, and they're just insane. I grew up a middle child, and growing up a middle child, there's a lot of stipulations. I have an older sister and a younger brother, and being a middle child is like being an adopted child, because your parents say they love you as much as your siblings, but then you start counting your Christmas gifts and something doesn't add up. I do love my siblings, but we could not be more different. I grew up playing sports, doing things athletic, and my siblings are not athletic in the slightest bit. To this day, I don't know if my 22-year-old sister can run. And not like run far or run fast, she's perfectly healthy. I've just never seen her even attempt to run. And until I do, I refuse to believe she can. I have seen that girl catch a basketball at the three-point line on a basketball court, do a 180 and do a backwards shot in the middle of a real game. Which I thought was weird until 10 years later, I watched my brother play basketball. And he decided to do what he calls a ninja roll down the entire court because he thought it looked really dope. Anyways, though, I do really love my family. I love all my siblings. I love my mom. I love my father. He's my hero. I respect that man, and I always will. However, I remember the first time I tried to fight my dad. And not in an aggressive or angry way, but I just wanted to prove my manhood over him. And I remember we were on vacation, he was in the pool with my uncle, they were talking, and I was looking at the back of him, and the only thing that was running through my mind was, I'm gonna kick your ass. So my gears started moving, I started making up a plan. I was like, well, if I sneak up behind him, I can slither up his back, I can choke him out, I can do all the moves I saw in Ninja Turtles, because that's my knowledge of fighting is what I see Donatello do in Ninja Turtles. Next thing I know, jumping in the pool, slipped off my dad's back, and they never tell you how peaceful it is when you're almost drowning. They never do. Movies make it look so bad, but it's really not. As I'm being held under the water by this man that brought me into the world and that raised me to be the person I am, I kind of felt like Jack from the Titanic. In the ways that I felt what I thought was going to be my last breath. I closed my eyes, I listened to the silence of the water, and I knew in my head that no matter what happened, just like Jack from the Titanic, my heart will go on. Thank you guys so much. All right. The next comic tonight, her name is Caroline Frawley, and she should really enjoy this because for once she's going to talk and people will listen to her.
Doing good? You guys having a good night? All right, happy Valentine's Day. I hope your Valentine's Day is going so much better than St. Valentine's did. That joke is for the historians in the room. Anyway, so I'm going into this with the mentality that this will be a complete disaster. So if I get even a couple muffled giggles out of this, I will brand this whole thing as a total success. So. Anymore. So, as some of you guys know, I attended a Catholic school my freshman year. Everyone has. Oh, thank you. So, I don't know if any of you have ever been in a Catholic high school musical depicting the events of the Catholic religion, but I have lived to tell the tale, so I can run you through how it works. So basically at the beginning, we pray, in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So, sorry guys, I'm not Catholic. Anyway, the show continues on with the very obvious low budget for costumes. I mean, our budget was so low we had to provide our own costumes. So, my costume for the winter play consisted of my father's extra large white long-sleeved thermal ski shirt that was paired oh so tastefully with the heat of the incandescent 50-year-old lights of our cafeteria. Now, this inspired outfit continued on with the beauty of my mother's overalls. My mother's maternity overalls, should I say, meaning my mother wore these when carrying me in her womb. These were not small overalls. I was a 10.5-pound child. So it's not exactly like I was on stage or she was carrying me hauling a light load, you know what I mean? So due to the fact, these overalls were problematic due to the fact that they were big, but they were also problematic due to the fact that I have a uterus. So if you're like me, you'll soon discover that it is no longer appropriate to wear certain articles of clothing that are directed towards people with child as a 15-year-old freshman in high school. And it is also no longer appropriate to say certain things, such as things being in your oven, because for some reason people freak out, I don't know why. But have you ever wondered why bake sales only happen in elementary and middle school? I mean, there's always going to be that one person who manages to track you down just to make sure that it is in fact Pillsbury crescent rolls and not buns in your oven. Now, this next story, my last story, it's so unrelated to what I've been talking about. I did not come up with the transition for it, so there's your transition. You're welcome. So, did you guys know that cats can get diabetes? I told you, there's no way I could have come up for anything with that. I didn't know either. In fact, the only reason I did know is because my mother managed to diagnose my morbidly obese cat after 20 years out of the medical field. Now, my mom, hi mom, she is a stay-at-home mother, she's an RN, and she is now apparently the pioneer of the discovery of feline diabetes. I mean, she must be the only person to ever figure this out. I mean, how many cats have you guys ever seen on insulin? How many cat owners have you ever seen expressing their concern of the glucose level of their calico? So, for her work in this oh so incredibly relevant field, I would personally like to thank my mother because had her pancreas functioned normally, she would have never known that my cats did not. So, thank you everyone, hope you enjoyed. Sorry that wasn't funny. Thank you. This next person, she sounds like a frog tonight. I promise she's not a frog. She's a human and actually a very talented one. Give it up for Allie Crocker.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming out tonight. I'd first like to start by saying please laugh at my jokes and not how many times my voice is about to crack. Because stand-up comedy night will get canceled for a snow day, but it won't stop for Valentine's Day, and it's not going to stop for onset laryngitis. Okay, yeah, so thank you all for coming, first of all. It's kind of unconventional being up here because this is a school project. You're watching me get a grade right now. I'm being graded, okay? It's kind of unconventional, but you can ask any modern day student. Unconventional projects are not unfamiliar to us. Take my 8th grade year of school, second to only building a spaghetti bridge for a science project. We had an assignment called the Planet Mars Exploration Journals. This was super relevant to my United States history course. Yeah, we spent, I'd say, a week in class working on them. And at 10 p.m. on the night before it was due, I started. And so I was at my dad's house and we were assigned to write 20-page-long fictional accounts of our lives on Mars with these like vivid illustrations to accompany each of them. And so I was at my dad's house that night, and upon realizing there was no way I was going to get this done in the time I had allotted myself, my dad was super nice and allowed me to convert his kitchen into somewhat of like a sweatshop assembly line for the two of us. So we worked together, and I would go over and I would type on a journal real quick, and then I would draw like the outline of Mars, and then I'd send it down the line to be colored, and I'd say, Dad, that's red, color that red. And then I would type the next journal, and then I would draw like a little Martian, and then I would send it down the line to be colored. I'd say, Dad, that's green. I love bonding with my dad. It was super fun. And we had our test the next week. Yeah, but it didn't really matter because our teacher would just give us all the test answers the day before the test anyway. And like we weren't complaining because we all got A's and he kept his job. But he is partially to blame for the reason why like a small portion of Carmel High School doesn't know who won the Civil War. But they Mars does not have very fertile soil. So yeah, that was a stupid project. And I've had to do a lot of them in my days, but the stupidest project of all, applying for college. We feel that, it's really stupid, and it feels really irrelevant, a lot of it, but it's actually really relevant. Imagine that. And so, applying for college, oh boy. Yeah, that's a tough one. The price of college is what really gets me. That's the kicker, okay? And I think about it a lot. It really kind of consumes a lot of my life, as I'm sure it does for a lot of us. But what I feel even more than the initiative to apply for scholarships is this crippling resentment of people and institutions that can afford my college education with ease. I'm just really bitter. And I started to do this thing where I bitterly measure how much various items and activities could afford my college education. Okay, it's kind of complicated, but let's take Carmel, Indiana. Let's take our fearless leader, Jim Brainerd, King James, the man himself. He likes to have things that are really pointless, but redeem themselves in being expensive. Yeah, whether it be roundabout sculptures or human sculptures, or I don't know, take the flower pots on Rangeline. We all know these. The ones that literally sit in the middle of the road. You kind of have to dodge when you're going down Rangeline. Yeah, those cost $4,000 each. You know that? They look like they're from IKEA. They dent like they're from IKEA when people inevitably ram into them. But we still have them. There's, 30 or so. And I look at them and I think, 15 of those could afford my college education, any college of my choice, with ease. And I drive down Rangeline to get to work. I'm going to work to just get top $10 an hour, to just stand there. And I look at those flower pots and I think, oh my God, there goes a semester of college. There goes another semester of college. There goes my entire sophomore year of college, and it's manifested itself in a flower pot. And I think to myself, if King James would so kindly pass on just even 10 of his attempts at suburban curb appeal and would instead take the money of those flower pots and donate it to charity, the charity being myself, I could go to any college of my choice. But why would I be so lucky, right? I have hauled myself to stand-up comedy night, to do a school project that you are all subject to. I will take the 95 out of 100 everyone in this class will inevitably get it. And I will pray that I get a full ride for my less than outstanding work. Thank you. And next up, we have a friend of mine who got a new curling wand tonight. She's already told me about it twice. So let's see her hair. It's Brie Faricello.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brie Faricello, and yes, that last name is painfully Italian. It's not that hard to pronounce, Faricello, but it's very intimidating to try and spell. My mom has this patented way of spelling it for everybody. It's the same way every time. It's F as in Frank, E-R-R-A-C-C-I-O-L-O, every time. And it's pretty long, but then sometimes she can get so used to saying it that she'll say it really fast. We're like, F as in Frank, E-R-R, and then people get really confused. They're like, wait, did you say Frank? Your last name's Frank? And just everyone just gets really confused. It's not good, but no, my mom is great. She's Puerto Rican, and it's so much fun. She has this Latina flair about her that, when directed a certain way, can feel like the fire of 1,000 suns just beating down on you. But no, she's really nice all the time. Puerto Ricans also have this reputation for being quite loud and using our hands a lot to talk. And one time I was upstairs and just minding my own business, and I hear from downstairs, "Oh my God!" And I was so confused, and I leapt up and I ran downstairs to see what happened, and it turns out her friend Debbie had called. And they were just having a regular conversation. But I feel like that's a normal mom thing, like to talk really, really loud on the phone, especially if they're like starting to lose connection with their friend and they were like in a really important conversation about brunch. And you're sitting in the passenger seat and you're like, God, Mom, just like hang up and call again. And she's there like, Linda, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Linda? Oh my God, no, oh my God, wait, no, but we were done talking about it. And they bring their phone like as close to their mouth as possible, as if that's gonna make the service any better. And you're just like, oh my gosh. But, you know, talking loud isn't the only thing that my mom does in excess. To read absolutely anything, she has to have a pair of reading glasses on her head, and then like one clip to her shirt, and then like one on the table next to her, and for some reason like 17 in her purse. And then she has to have like 3 in the drawer upstairs, and then of course like she's still like, where are my readers? Like, did anybody see my reading glasses? I can't read. Marie, turn the light on. It's too dark in here. So my mom is definitely always right about things, even when I don't want her to be. But at least I can still read. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you. Thanks, Mom, for letting me make fun of you for 2 minutes. Love you so much. All right. And next up is Maria, who straightened her hair just for you guys today. What is up, everybody? Now, can we please give a round of applause for everyone that's gone so far? Come on. Okay, stop. It's my turn. I'm getting timed. Okay, we gotta get this thing going. So, basically to let you guys get to know me, I'm dyslexic. Woo! I can already see my mom kind of like freaking out because I didn't tell her like I was gonna talk about my dyslexia. I lied. Sorry, Jesus. But basically, if you don't know what dyslexia is, it's basically a learning disability where I can't read or write. You know, the 2 things I need for school. And basically, growing up with dyslexia, it was eventful. And I have a strong memory from kindergarten. Oh, and also you need to know about me, I'm also a narcissist. So, dyslexia and narcissism don't fit well. And especially when a narcissist thinks that you're right all the time. When you have dyslexia, you're not right all the time. And so basically, and also my last name is Sam, S-A-A-M. I'm German, that's just how it works, I don't know. But there's this kid in my kindergarten class named Sam, you know, S-A-M. And I convinced him that he was wrong. He comes up, I go to him, I'm like, Sam, were your parents just stupid? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, your name's spelled wrong. And he's just like, Maria. I'm like, yeah, look at me. I'm S-A-A-M. You're S-A-M. You must be wrong. Like, come on now, Sam. I made Sam cry in kindergarten. And also, growing up, it's also kind of challenging because I'll have younger kids who are like better than me at like reading and stuff. Like I was babysitting this girl one time. She was a kindergartner. I was a freshman in high school. And she wanted to read Harry Potter. Dyslexic people don't read Harry Potter. And I was sitting at the edge of her bed and I was reading it, and you know, I struggle, so I'm reading slowly, I'm messing up words, and she tapped me on the shoulder, she goes, Maria? And I go, yeah, what's up? And she goes, are you struggling? And I'm like, shut up! Like, I'm okay! And so then she takes the book and she just goes on. She was reading Harry Potter to me. Like, that's really what happened that night. And then it's also, being at Carmel High School and being dyslexic is honestly kind of great because the teachers are really great at like helping you with all that stuff, but they're really bad at kind of like keeping it on the down low. Like first day of junior year, I come to sit down in one of my classes, it's like assigned seating, and I got assigned next to this really cute football guy, and I'm like, oh yes, this year's gonna be great. But then my teacher comes over to me and she's like, Maria? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And she's just like, so like, I know like about your condition, and like we're gonna really work to just make sure you like I'll help you through this, and we will plan everything out. If you need help, just let me know. We'll extend times. Like I'm here for you. You are going to graduate. And I'm like, oh no, this dude's gonna think I'm like pregnant or something. Like this is how it's gonna go. I just started this year like this. That's all I have for you, everyone. I'm Maria.
in high school, peaked in junior year. All right. Well, I just want to say happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I had no plans. I mean, last two guys I talked to, the first one had anger management problems, and the second played disc golf. That tells you anything about my taste in men. All right. So, I, like probably many people in my class, to prepare for tonight, I Googled how to be funny. And I found this great article about stand-up comedy tips, and tip number 1 was, if you don't take the mic out of the stand in the first 15 seconds, you're screwed. So it took all of me not to just come out here and be like, Lady McNeighbor, thank you so much for coming. Please tell me I'm funny, please. Okay, well, about myself, I was born and raised in the great state of Indiana, and actually, I was driving downtown the other day, and on the side of this big building, it said, Indiana, a state that works. And I don't know about you, but that's the most accurate description of Indiana that I've ever heard. I mean, it works. It's not great, but it works. It works. Like, that's what you say when you're like dismembering a body, and maybe there's like a chunk that's like a little too big, but you're too tired, so like it works. I mean, it's 50 degrees and I'm wearing a crop top, if that tells you anything. Another thing about me, in the past like 2-3 months, I've been auditioning for musical theater programs for college. Yeah, that's a weird thing. I had to apply to like 15 schools and pay them so much money for them to tell me that I'm untalented and not fit to be in their program. Like I was at Florida State and they were like, thank you for coming and flying to Tallahassee, Florida, and for paying hundreds and thousands of dollars for your flight and hotels and food. Well, out of the 300 of you, we will be taking 1.5, so thank you for coming. Probably my strangest audition was probably like 2 weeks ago at the Palmer House in Chicago. It was in an actual hotel room. It was in a hotel room. There was a keyboard set up and a video camera, and the auditors were sitting crisscross applesauce on the bed with their papers in hand. So I come in, I stand in front of the television, and I'm giving them my rehearsed routine. And at the end of it, they ask me, so how'd you hear about us, Lainey? And as I'm answering, they both stand up from the bed and start staring at me and walking slowly towards me. And I am backing away, thinking, should I kick in the nuts and then run? So they get very close to me, and then he looks down, he shakes my hand goodbye, and as soon as I do, I run out the door, and I close it behind me. And I am very thankful that A, I was not abducted, and B, that I am not posted, to my knowledge, on a site called Naughty Auditions. Thank you very much. Next up is the best actress in the state of Indiana in the year of 2017 for teaching us how to draw a kangaroo, Jenna McNulty.
Hi guys, I'm Jenna, like Lainey said, and I'm going to tell you a fun fact about myself because that's what this is all about, right? I want to be a teacher when I grow up, and if you think about teaching as a profession, just like think about it for a second, okay? It's basically just being locked in a room with 30 kids for 8 hours a day, and all you get in return is like, I don't know, germs? But it's basically just like glorified babysitting, but like I'm super into it. I'm really excited to be a teacher. And I actually got an opportunity to student teach at Smoky Row Elementary in 4th grade. Not when I was in 4th grade like last year. That would have been pretty cool if I got to do that in 4th grade. I'd be like, I'm in charge. But yeah, and the one thing that I remembered as soon as I walked in is that in elementary school, they actually like take time to put aside like academics and be like, here's how to be a good person. And they're like, have fun activities, and they like do certain like traditions in each class, and we do stuff like that. And specifically, in my class, we had these 2 little stuffed hamsters named Douglas and Mary, and every week on Friday at the end of the day, my teacher would spin the wheel and it would land on one of the kids' names. And they got to take it home for the weekend, and they got to like journal what they did, and they got to like take pictures with it and like talk about what they did with Douglas and Mary. And some kids, when they got their name spinned on the wheel, they would be so excited. They'd be like, I'd like to thank the Academy. Like, I would like to thank my bus driver for getting me here this morning so I could get there. And then so some other kids were like, I'll take it if I have to. Like, fine, I told you I'll take it. Like, there was definitely mixed emotions about about Douglas and Mary, but nonetheless, I loved reading the stories that they wrote down in there because they were hilarious. Specifically, Eli was this little kid named Eli, and his story on like Friday and Saturday was just a normal weekend, you know, like soccer or like birthday party, whatever. And then Sunday, his journal went as follows. My mom came into my room after church today and told me we had to go to the hospital because my grandpa stopped breathing. And I know that sounds really bad and not funny at all, but underneath this small little journal entry was a picture of Douglas and Mary, little stuffed hamsters on top of his grandfather's lap in the hospital bed, completely passed out. So I was looking at this journal entry and I was like, I'm just going to think about this for a second. I'm just going to think about what Eli was going through and why he decided that this was going to be a cool thing to put in the journal. So I thought about it, and this is what I came up with. Okay, so bear with me. This is the backstory that I came up with. So Eli's in his room just playing with Douglas and Mary, you know. And then his mom walks in and is like, oh my gosh, Eli, we have to go to the hospital. Like, your grandpa stopped breathing. And he, like, takes a beat and looks at the hamsters and is like, I know what I have to do. So they get to the hospital, they go in the room, and the mom is like, oh my gosh, Dad, are you okay? And Eli like struts in front of his mom and is like, Pops, I have some little guys I want you to meet. And pulls out Mary and is like, meet Mary. And then pulls out Douglas and is like, meet Douglas. Then he takes out his camera and he's like, and then he's like, that's gonna be the coolest thing Douglas and Mary have ever done, and I cannot wait to tell my class on Monday. And then his mom is over there in the corner like, Eli, don't do that. But anyway, that's just my taking on the situation. But I'm really excited to be a teacher because I'm gonna have so many stories like that to tell because kids make stupid decisions and think stupid things, so I'm just super excited. Also super excited to get their germs. And yeah, that's it for my act. I'm the last one of the first act. So there's going to be a 10-minute intermission. You can go get refreshments out in the lobby. And please come back for the second act. We have 8 more hilarious acts coming up. And your laughter is what's keeping us going, literally. So please come back.